You ain't gonna do nothing, except for maybe some drug tests, Conor. In today's video, we're gonna talk about the United States Anti-Doping Agency's Exceptional Circumstances Clause that our boy McGregor plans on exploiting. That's not all. USADA also had a couple of things to say regarding this matter. So what are you waiting for? Keep watching and let's dive right into it. First things first, bypass of the 6-month testing rule. Our boy plans on making a return in February. McGregor hasn't competed since he lost to Dustin Poirier at UFC 264 and absolutely destroyed his leg. He has been recovering his leg ever since. However, it has been discovered that he has already left the USADA testing pool, though he is already considering a comeback. He recently stated in a tweet that he was okay to take the test and schedule a fight in February. McGregor will require 6 months of testing, as previously confirmed by Dana White, before engaging in combat. But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. When TSN's Bronsteter learned about Conor looking for a shortcut, he contacted USADA. Let's take a look at the statement from USADA. The statement concerning McGregor stated that once UFC fighters engage in the testing program, they are subject to testing. Even if they're not currently competing, until they inform the UFC of their retirement, their contract expires, or they are otherwise removed from the program. If a competitor returns to the UFC, they must spend 6 months in the USADA testing pool before they're allowed to participate. The UFC may grant an exception to the 6-month written notice rule in exceptional circumstances, or where the strictness of the 6-month rule might prove unfair for the athlete. However, in both cases, under UFC rules, the athlete must provide at least 2 negative samples before returning to competition. It's fascinating to read that McGregor could be granted a waiver from the 6-month testing requirement, but it remains to be seen whether that'll actually happen. Following up, what does the situation look like? After losing 2 consecutive fights to Poirier, McGregor hasn't competed since mid-2021 and is presently on a 2-fight losing streak. His most recent victory came at UFC 246 when he TKO'd Donald Cerrone. Anyway, what do you think is going to happen? Is the Notorious exploiting the whole thing justified? Personally, we think he's going to end up in the pool and then get into a fight 6 months after that, which looks like it's going to be August. Moving on, USADA says it's doubtful. So here's the spicy part. Even before he can be added to the testing pool, McGregor still allegedly needs 2 clean tests. Conor McGregor, a former UFC champion, is currently involved in some controversy. Trust us, it's just Conor being Conor. But for the first time in his professional career, USADA is an important character in his whole story. Everything began when it was discovered that McGregor had not undergone any USADA testing in 2022. Then, most recently, McGregor said that in order to rejoin the testing pool in February, he needed 2 USADA clean tests. A fan pointed out that McGregor's explanation of his goals matched USADA regulations for athletes who tell the testing organization that they had been using a prohibited drug extremely precisely. The whole bulk. The 2 tests. It seems kinda sus. The clean shave. Like, no way, right? Yo, this weight gain reminds us. In a recent online outburst, McGregor attacked former UFC championship challenger Anthony Smith for remarks he made about McGregor's lack of testing and appearing larger body. But let's save that for later. USADA claimed that McGregor will have to do 6 months. Avery Walker, director of communications for the agency, stated that McGregor wasn't even registered in the pool and that rules would be followed in case of an exception. The director confirmed it was possible but expressed his doubt over it actually happening. Long story short, McGregor will be qualified to participate in August 2023, assuming he joins the testing pool in February and doesn't get his 2-test way. Coming up, McGregor wants PED laws modified. Not just modified, he claims that's necessary for his whole back-to-normal journey. Is it even normal if the Notorious doesn't beef with someone? So it all started when Anthony Smith implied that McGregor was taking enhancement drugs to heal from his injury from UFC 264. Well, McGregor only had one word before he jumped all in: rat. McGregor added that he was the most tested fighter, and no lie in that, he definitely was in 2021. Conor said that Smith was one of many who were bothered by his recovery and getting back to normal. He also mentioned Chris Weidman, who suffered the same injury as Conor, and how the Rats would be happier seeing Conor gone. Calling Smith a loser, he added about the intensity of his injury and that he didn't care about what people had to say. We mean Conor did devote his entire being to this game, to which he further added that the Lionheart doesn't doesn't bring much to the table. McGregor then shared a clip of Smith walking backstage after fracturing his leg during the fight to criticize Smith's injury-related TKO defeat to Ankalaev at UFC 277. After that, the classic lingo was used, where he called Smith a fool and said that he thought Anthony shattered his leg in his previous bout. Further calling him an embarrassment, McGregor told him to keep his mouth shut when his name was mentioned. He laughed at the Lionheart making fun of his injury and told him to walk it off. Oh, Conor, you never disappoint. What else? Welterweight. After it became known that McGregor had been kicked out of USADA's drug testing pool following his injury and hadn't been tested since, not just Smith, but everyone was sus about him using substances. So after completing 6 months of required testing, he's anticipated to return to the UFC the following year, with his sights set on welterweight. For lightweight, as of now, he's ranked 14th. Not to forget, the Notorious isn't even participating in the pool. Clearance is required according to the anti-doping agency. As the statement from USADA makes it pretty clear, Conor McGregor, despite his efforts to find a loophole, might just have to spend 6 months in the testing pool before being authorized to compete. Obviously, many people were surprised when the rumor about not getting tested all of 2022 came out. But later, when it was confirmed, the Irishman, who's looking for a unique USADA exemption, stated that he'll be permitted to compete in February. Not so easy now, is it? As we mentioned in his tweet earlier in the video, the man seemed confident about his return. Conor, baby, things are looking bad. After he said that he will be exonerated in February, it doesn't seem to be the case. According to USADA, Conor's got to take a swim in the pool as they don't find the exemption necessary. Come on, Conor, we know you're bored, but it's just 6 months. Anyway, Bronsteter reported that when an athlete is dropping from the pool, they gotta be dropped from the rankings. But guess what? Conor was still ranked. We just said it. He's ranked 14th in the lightweight division. So you're saying McGregor was the only athlete on the UFC's active roster before August 1st, 2022, who had not undergone a USADA test in 2022. Wait a darn minute, now we're also confused. Again, Conor doesn't have a nice recent record. McGregor has lost his last 2 fights, both by getting knocked out against Dustin Poirier. He fractured his leg in his most recent combat, and he has been healing it to this day. The Irishman's most recent victory over Donald Cerrone occurred at UFC 246 by first-round TKO. He lost to Khabib Nurmagomedov for the lightweight championship by submission. What do you think of USADA's statement? Lastly, the early comeback seems more difficult. Leon Edwards, a guest on The Breakfast Club, spoke about Conor McGregor's possible comeback in February. The two fighters share a management company. The current welterweight champion sent well wishes to his fellow fighter and expressed a desire to see him succeed in his comeback. But he definitely was a bit skeptical regarding the Irishman and his ability to compete with top 5 competitors. Imagine Conor tweets at him too. You rat. He added that it'd be challenging for him to return and battle against the top 5. Edwards shared his thoughts and said that as Conor has gained a lot of muscle as well, which has a significant impact on an athlete, especially one from combat sports, he hopes the Notorious comes back stronger and succeeds. He wished Conor good health and negated a question about his disliking of the whole ongoing situation. He said that there's no hate whatsoever, as his achievement doesn't diminish Edwards. McGregor has said that welterweight will be his preferred weight division upon his comeback because of his substantial gain in muscle during his time away from the ring. If it happens, and should Leon "Rocky" Edwards defend the championship against Kamaru Usman in what's anticipated to be a trilogy bout next year, perhaps the Irishman will be the one who knocks on his door next. Anyway, that's a wrap for today's video. How do you think this whole fiasco is gonna play out? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed. Having said that, see you in the next one. Peace!